Our team will be really thankful if you please click on subscribe button before watching this video.
In our last video, we talked about the basic knowledge of the Ottoman Empire. Today we will talk about Osman's name, the origin of the Ottoman Empire, Osman's dream, his military victories, about his family, and the sword of Osman. Osman's name. Some scholars have argued that Osman's original name was Turkish, probably Atman or Ataman, and was only later changed to Osman of Arabic origin. The earliest Byzantine sources, including Osman's contemporary, spell his name as Ottoman. Osman's may thus have adopted the more prestigious Muslim name later in his life. Origin of the Ottoman Empire.
Our team will be really thankful if you please click on subscribe button.
The exact date of Osman's birth is unknown, and very little is known about his early life and origins due to the scarcity of sources and the many myths and legends which came to be told about him by the Ottomans in later centuries. He was most likely born around the middle of the 13th century, possibly in 1254 or 1255. The date given by the 16th century Ottoman historian Compulsazadi. According to Osman tradition, Osman's father Ertuğrul led the Turkish Kai tribe west from Central Asia into Anatolia. Fleeing the Mongol onslaught, he then pledged allegiance to the Sultan of the Anatolian Seljuks, who granted him dominion over the town of Sogod on the Byzantine frontier. This connection between Ertuğrul and the Seljuks, however, was largely invented by court chroniclers a century later.
Our team will be really thankful if you please click on subscribe button.
And the true origins of the Ottomans thus remain obscure. Osman became chief of Bey upon his father's death in 1280. Nothing is known for certain about Osman's early activities except that he controlled the region around the town of Sogod and from there launched raids against the neighboring Byzantine Empire. The first datable event in Osman's life is the Battle of Bapheus in 1301 or 1302, in which he defeated a Byzantine force sent to counter him. Osman appears to have followed the strategy of increasing his territories at the expense of the Byzantines while avoiding conflict with the more powerful Turkish neighbors. His first advances were through the passes which lead from the barren areas of northern Phrygia near modern Exarchia into the more fertile plains of Bithynia.
Our team will be really thankful if you please click on subscribe button.
According to Stanford Shaw, these conquests were achieved against the local Byzantine nobles, some of whom were defeated in battle, others being absorbed peacefully by purchase contract, marriage contracts, and the like. These early victories and exploits are favorite subject of Osman writers, especially in love stories of his wooing and winning the fair Mal Hatun. These legends have been romanticized by the poetical pens which recorded them in later years. The Ottoman writers attached great importance to this legendary, dreamlike conception of the founder of their empire.
Our team will be really thankful if you please click on subscribe button.
Osman's dream. Osman I had a close relationship with the local religious leader of dervishes named Sheikh Adabala, whose daughter he married. A story emerged among later Ottoman writers to explain the relationship between the two men, in which Osman had a dream while staying in the Sheikh's house. The story appears in the late 15th century chronicle. He saw that a moon arose from the holy man's breast and came to skin in his own breast. A tree then sprouted from his navel, and its shade compassed the world. Beneath this shade there were mountains, and streams flowed forth from the foot of each mountain. Some people drank from these running waters, others watered gardens, while yet others caused fountains to flow. When Usman awake, he told the story to the holy man, who said, Usman, my son, congratulations, for God has given the imperial office to you and your descendants, and my daughter Malhoun shall be your wife. The dream became an important foundational math for the empire, imbuing the house of Usman with God-given authority over the earth and providing its 15th century audience with an explanation for Ottoman success. The dream story may also have served as a form of compact, just as God promised to provide Usman and his descendants with sovereignty. It was also implicit that it was the duty of Usman to provide his subjects with prosperity.
Our team will be really thankful if you please click on subscribe button.
Military victories. According to Shaw, Usman's first real conquest followed the collapse of Seljuk authority when he was able to occupy fortresses of Eskişehir and Karacahisar. Then he captured the first significant city in his territories, Yenişehir, which became the Ottoman capital. In 1302, after soundly leading a Byzantine force near Nisai, Usman began setting his forces closer to Byzantine controlled areas. Alarmed by Usman's growing influence, the Byzantines gradually fled the Anatolian countryside. Byzantine leadership attempted to contain Ottoman expansion, but their efforts were poorly organized and ineffectual. Meanwhile, Usman spent the remainder of his region expanding his control in two directions along the course of the Sakarya River and southwest towards the Sea of Marmara, achieving his objectives by 1308. That same year, his followers participated in conquest of the Byzantine city Ephesus.
Our team will be really thankful if you please click on subscribe button.
Near the Aegean Sea, thus capturing the last Byzantine city on the coast, although the city became part of the domain of the Emir of Aegean. Usman's last campaign was against the city of Bursa. Although Usman did not physically participate in the battle, the victory of Bursa proved to be extremely vital for the Ottomans, as the city served as a staging ground against the Byzantines in Constantinople and as a newly adorned capital for Osman's son Orhan. Due to the scarcity of sources about his life, very little is known about Usman's family relations. According to certain 15th century Osman writers, Usman was descended from the Kai branch of the Oghuz Turk, a claim which later became part of the official Ottoman genealogy and was eventually enshrined in the Turkish nationalist historical tradition with the writings of M.F. Korkulu. However, the claim to Kai lineage does not appear in the earliest extant Ottoman genealogies. Thus, many scholars of the early Ottomans regard it as a later fabrication meant to shore up with regard to the empire's Turkish rivals in Anatolia. It is very difficult for historians to determine what is factual and what's legendary about the many stories the Ottomans told about Usman and his exploits. The sword of Usman was an important sword of state used during the coronation ceremony of the Ottoman sultans. Practice started when Usman was girded with the sword of Islam by his father-in-law, Sheikh Adabala. The gilding of the sword of Osman was a vital ceremony which took place within 2 weeks of a sultan's accession. It was held at the tomb complex at Yup on the Golden Horn waterway in the capital, Constantinople. The fact that the emblem by which a sultan was enthroned consisted of a sword was highly symbolic. It showed that the office with which he was invested was first most that of a warrior. The sword of Osman was gilded on the new sultan by the Sharif of Konya, a Mevlevi dervish who was summoned to Constantinople for that purpose.
Our team will be really thankful if you please click on subscribe button.